How you doing, guys? Cobra Kai season 3 is great to me. It will be great to you too, as long as you do one thing. Don't take this world too seriously. Cobra Kai is great. Let me explain what I mean by that. Cobra Kai is great as long as you don't take the world too seriously. Because of three things, in my opinion. Two especially, but the third thing is just above us. The fights, the writing, and the comedy. One, the fights. The choreography and the wide shots, the camera angles, the best I've ever been in this series. The problem with the show is that you'll realize very quickly people don't always suffer the full real world consequences for these fights that they have. And you may figure out what I'm talking about based on season 1 and 2. But I'll just put it this way. The point of the reason I still love the show and I still think it's really good and I'd recommend it, it's not because of the lack of consequences. It's because when you watch the fights and scenes in the show, it's very clear after a certain point that they're meant to teach you about the character. This is the way they do character arcs partly. It's meant to teach you about a character. It's supposed to show you their philosophy, the way they think. And it's supposed to show you where their journey's going to tease foreshadow, right? That's why you shouldn't take this world too seriously, because the point is meant to look closely, front and center, through these fight scenes at what these characters are doing, how they're behaving, through the fight style, the fight scene, whichever. Second big reason why this show is great, but you're not supposed to take the world too seriously, but it still makes it great, is because of the nuance in the writing. The writing is really good in this show, guys. I'll tell you why. Because no one is completely good or bad in this show. There's one exception to that. But even that one big exception, they show you from past experiences why that character behaves the way they behave. But the world of the show still seems quite over the top. The purpose of the story is to not... The purpose of the story is to show people why... Or sorry, to show people how some characters behave the way they behave. There's at least 3 characters in this story who have Anakin Skywalker type story arcs, and are done far better in my opinion than the prequels. It's meant to show you the ingredients that make a person what they are, as opposed to just justifying their behavior. So anytime you feel like this show is being over the top with the way characters are behaving and situations they're in, just remember it's showing you. The whole show will show you eventually, if it hasn't shown you, what made them behave this way, as opposed to just justifying their behavior all the time. The show isn't trying to do that necessarily. Remember that. And then the third big thing is the comedy. Now the comedy is great in this season and in this show, I've realized, because something occurred to me. For people who don't know, I started watching Cobra Kai in 2017 when it first came out. When I watched season 1, I realized the things that I connected with, apart from the fight scenes, the choreography, was the writing that was more heartfelt. So maybe take the show a lot more seriously than I should have done, looking back. Especially when I started watching season 2 in 2019. This is before it got famous off of Netflix, really big. And I realized that was a mistake, because looking at this show, the way they use comedy, they still make fun of PC culture and all that stuff. But you see, ironically, just like The Boys, season 2 and season 1 does this. Just like The Boys, for example, Cobra Kai is another show where they use that as a distraction. They're making fun of PC stuff to actually show you a really genuine and organic way of analyzing these issues in culture, mental health, issues of self-esteem. Like people who are led down certain places, peer pressure, all these types of stuff, right? And not just for the kids, by the way. It sounded like I'm talking about the bullying issues that they've always faced from season one, from the start of season one. But no, I'm talking about the kids and the adults, mental health issues. Trust me, this stuff is potent, but it doesn't feel forced. And this show is making fun of how our bigger culture handles that stuff, while showing you how to really reflect upon such issues. And I love the show for that. That's one of the third reasons and last reason that I'm going to give why this season of Cobra Kai is great, in my opinion, but you shouldn't take the world too seriously. That's a flaw, but to me, it doesn't sink the show down for me, in my opinion. The fights, the nuance in the writing, and the comedy, they make up for it. And I would definitely recommend it to people if you liked season one. If you like season two, I wasn't the biggest fan of season two, but season three redeemed it for me. And those are my thoughts. And lastly, one quick thing: the showrunners of the show, Kevin Feige, you need to hire them to write a Heroes for Hire Disney Plus show or a 2-hour Heroes for Hire movie. Heroes for Hire is Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Guys, before you sign off, because you heard me say those names, remember, they're Lethal Weapon type characters from Marvel Comics. Buddy cop group. They have comedic banter between the two at times. And they take out bad guys, superpowered gangsters, take names, choreography. This is a great ballpark for the makers of the show, in my opinion. Maybe the only issue I'd have is if they could handle superhero world building. But this shit is... Cobra Kai is so over the top because it's paying homage to the original franchise, the original Karate Kid franchise, that it might as well be a superhero movie, in my opinion, because there's characters in this movie that are super villains. I said movie. That's how I think of Cobra Kai. It's the real sequel to Karate Kid 1. It's not. There's no Karate Kid 2 or 3. It's this movie, then it's Cobra Kai, and then the other things are just like extra knowledge. That's how I think of this season. So guys, please, I'm telling you, definitely watch Cobra Kai season 3. If you have already, tell me your thoughts down below on the series. Did you like it? Did you not? Press that thumbs up button if you like this video, and subscribe for more, guys. It's just right there. The button's right there. Do it. Press it. Click. Other than that, salute. Laters, guys.